السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد أما بعد. Tonight we will go through the rulings related to the tashahhud inshallah, and we will divide this lesson into four parts. First part will be about sitting in the first tashahhud and what to read there. Of course we are going to read a tahiyyatu lillahi. But what about Salah ala Nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin? So this is a disputed issue, whether you are going to read Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin in the first tashahhud or not. The second part would be about sitting in the final tashahhud, how to sit there. And the third part is regarding the hands, how to place your hands on your knees or on your thighs, and about raising and moving the index finger. And the final part will be about supplications towards the end of Salah. After you read a Salah ala Nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad and Allahumma barik ala Muhammad. After that, what are the du'as which you should read or you can read? So the first part that about first tashahhud. And when I say first tashahhud, this is the tashahhud where you have a salah longer than 2 rak'ah. So it's like 3 rak'ah or 4 rak'ah, where you have multiple tashahuds. So if you are in a tashahhud, which is the first tashahhud, and you are not going to finish your salah after that tashahhud, so this tashahhud is in the middle of salah. So how to sit there and how much you are supposed to read in there. So when this is the tashahhud, which is after second rak'ah, and you are not going to finish your salah in the tashahhud, then this is unanimous among scholars that the position of sitting there is as mentioned in this hadith from Sahih Muslim. And this is a longer hadith from Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, and the relevant part of it is وَكَانَ يَقُولُ فِي كُلِّ رَكَعَتَيْنِ التَّحِيَّةِ, that in every 2 rak'ahs he used to say at-tahiyyatu lillahi, he used to sit for tashahhud. وَكَانَ يَفْرِشُ رِجْلَهُ الْيُسْرَى, and he used to place his left foot flat, so he used to sit on his left foot. وَيَنْصِبُ رِجْلَهُ الْيُمْنَى, and he used to raise up his right foot. So this is the position of sitting in the tashahhud where you are not going to finish your salah. And then the second issue in this part is that about a salah ala nabi, that you read a tahiyyatu lillahi, then you read ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. After that, should you stand up for the third rak'ah, or you should read Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin complete as well and then stand up? So there are two views about that. From mainstream Shawafi, Imam Shafi rahimahullah and his followers, and then Ibn Hazm rahimahullah, they as well, they had this position that this is the sunnah, this is mashru, this is better that you read Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin in first tashahhud as well, even if you are not going to finish your salah. And the mainstream view is that in first tashahhud you will say wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu, and then you will stand up for third rak'ah. So this ikhtilaf is not really such ikhtilaf where you say that this is what you are supposed to do and the other side is wrong. Rather, there is some wus'ah here. So the situation is wide here, like you can do whichever way you want to do, because the evidence from both sides is not very conclusive. So both sides, whatever the evidence they give, they have some weightage on both sides. At the same time, there is not like exactly conclusive evidence from any side. So the people from Shawafi who say that this is Sunnah, their argument is that the ahadith which mention a Salah ala Nabi, they are generic. And they don't specify that this is the last tashahhud only. On the other hand, the majority of the scholars who have the view that you are not supposed to read a salah al nabi in first tashahhud, where you are not going to finish your salah, they bring their evidence from things where we can see that first tashahhud used to be short one. And to make it short, if you read all a salah al nabi up to that, then it will not remain short. There is a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this regard, that he used to stand up quickly as if he is sitting on fire, but that narration is weak. But there is an authentic asar, action from Umar bin Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that he used to stand up from first tashahhud very quickly. So evidence, even if it's not conclusive, both sides, they have some merit in their argument. So that's why this is not a major issue. So it's not wise to be strict on one side, or say to those people who read a salah al nabi in first rakah, it's not good to say to them that you are doing something which is not proven. Then the second part is about sitting position in the final tashahhud. We have read that if it's the first tashahhud where you are going to stand up for third rakah, then what you will do, you will sit on your left foot and you will keep your right foot in standing position. But if you are in your final tashahhud, the tashahhud where you are going to finish your salah, then there are four views about this issue. The first one is, and by the way, when in previous section I said that like this is like unanimous about like this is how you should sit, that's not strictly unanimous. That's like almost majority, they do like that. Because here you will find quite interesting that there are four major schools of thought among fuqaha, and in this issue all four have totally separate positions than others. So four schools, four positions. Hanafiya, they say that you are going to sit the similar way as mentioned before in the first tashahhud, that you are going to sit on your left foot, no difference whether this is the tashahhud in the middle of salah or end of salah, no difference according to Hanafiya. What is their evidence? They just present the hadith which mentions sitting on the foot, and they totally ignore the hadith of tawarruk where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sat on his hip. So their position is weak for sure, that this position is not correct, for obvious reason that they are just picking and they are just doing pick and choose. So this is not how they are supposed to do. So that's why this position is not correct. Second position is Malikiya. This is total opposite of Hanafiya. They say that tawarruk is in every sitting. Wherever you sit in the salah, sit in tawarruk, sit on your hip. Again, this position is wrong as well, because again, they are taking the hadith of tawarruk only, and they are totally ignoring the position which is mentioned about first tashahhud. Then Hanabila and Shafi'iyya, they have small difference. Hanabila, they say that tawarruk is in second tashahhud only. So if, for example, in a salah, you have two tashahhud, one is in second rakah, one is in fourth rakah, then in the last tashahhud, which is the second tashahhud, you will sit on your hip. But if salah is only two rakah, like Fajr salah, and you are going to finish your salah after first tashahhud, they say that you will sit on your foot, not on your hip, because they say this is first tashahhud. So they say the difference is whether it's first tashahhud or second tashahhud. Difference is not like it's the last tashahhud or is the final tashahhud. Rather, the difference is, according to them, is that whether it's second tashahhud or first tashahhud. If it's first tashahhud, whether it's in the middle or it's in the end, you are going to sit on your foot and you will not going to do tawarruk. Now, the fourth and final position is from Shafi'iyya. And Shafi'iyya position, and this is the position of Ahlul Hadith as well, that tawarruk will be in the final tashahhud. Whether it's the first tashahhud or second tashahhud, it doesn't matter. The main thing is whether you are going to finish your salah there or not. So every tashahhud where you are going to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah at the end, you are going to do tawarruk. Now, the difference between the position of Hanabila and Shafi'iyya is difference of understanding of the same hadith. And that hadith is the famous hadith of Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, where he was sitting among 10 or more than 10 Sahaba, the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said to them, Ana kuntu ahfadukum li salati Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I remember the salah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam more than any one of you, and I can narrate it to you. He said, Ra'aytuhu idha kabbara ja'ala yadayhi hiza'a mankibayhi. I saw him when he said Allahu Akbar, he raised his hands up to his shoulders. Wa idha raka'a amkana yadayhi min rukbatayhi. So when he did ruku, he held his knees with his hands strongly. And then his back was straight. And then he stood up until every bone came to its place. And then he did sajda. And in sajda, he put his hands on the floor. And he was not, his hands like arms were not touching the floor. And they were not like touching his body. Rather, they were like wide. And then he faced the toes of his feet towards Qibla. And then he says that when he sat fir rak'atayn, after 2 rak'ah, when he sat for tashahhud, jalasa ala rijlihi yusra, he sat on his left foot, wa nasab al yumna, and he erected his right foot. He kept his right foot standing. Wa idha jalasa fir rak'atil akhirah, and when he sat in the final rak'ah, in the last rak'ah, qaddama rijlahu yusra, he moved his left foot even further below his right leg, one nasab al-ukhra, and then he his right foot was standing as before, wa qa'ada ala maq'adatihi, and he sat on his hip. So here Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he explained the situation, he used the word final rak'ah. Now Shafi'iyya and Ahlul Hadith, they understand from this that he is saying that when this is the final rak'ah of the salah, you are going to do tawarruk. You are supposed to sit on the hip. This is the final rak'ah. And Hanabila, they took it, they said they are in the previous sentence because 2 rak'ah has been mentioned. So here when Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi, he is saying final rak'ah, so he is thinking about the 4th rak'ah only or 3rd rak'ah only, about the 2nd tashahhud. So this is a final tashahhud which is a 2nd as well. This is what they claim, and this is the basis of their understanding. So we prefer that there is no condition of being 2nd as well. It's about being the final tashahhud only, even if it's the 1st and only tashahhud. Why we prefer this understanding is that if we see an other hadith which is sahih and which is from Sunan Abi Dawud, so from that hadith we can have some indication and understanding that this tawarruk is related to taslim, is related to salam when we finish our salah. And that hadith, it says that hatta iza kanat as-sajdatu allati fiha at-taslim, that when he used to be in the rak'ah which ended with as-salam, when he used to be in a rak'ah where he used to end the salah with assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, akhara rijlahu al-yusra wa qa'ada mutawarriqan ala shikkihi al-aysar. He used to, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to move his left foot even further down under his right leg, and he used to sit on his hip. So this hadith mentions as-salam clearly, that assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, wherever it is the final rak'ah of the salah, he used to sit like that. So in this issue, So we give tarjih to the position where any rakah, any tashahhud, whether it's first or second, if it's the final tashahhud of the salah, then you are supposed to sit in tawarruk. Now the next part is about the positions of the hands in tashahhud, where to put your hands. And then about the right hand, that how you keep your right hand in what position, and how you raise or move your index finger. So as far as the position of the hands, then there are two positions mentioned in Sahih Hadith. One of them they mention about thighs, like end of thighs, and and the other one mentions the uh, knees, that you put your hands on your knees. So maybe there is no major difference actually. You can say that the hands, they are in such a position where they are on thighs as well. Some of the thighs, they are covered with hands, and then they go towards the knees as well. Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, and this is from Sahih Muslim, that anna nabiyya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kana idha jalasa fi salati, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he used to sit in salah, wada yadayhi ala rukbatayhi, he used to place his hands on his knees, wa rafa isba'ahul yumna allati talil ibham, and he used to raise his finger, his right finger, which is next to thumb, means he used to raise his index finger, fada'a biha, and he used to supplicate with this finger. Wa yadahul yusra ala rukbatihil yusra, and he used to put his left hand on left knee, basituha alayha, and the hand used to be spread over that knee, stretched his left hand on the left knee. So this hadith mentions the position that his index finger used to be raised, and it mentions that hands are on the knees. Next hadith is from Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu as well. And the narrator of the hadith, maybe he may have been a child at that time. He said, "Ana abasu bil hasaf salati." I was playing with pebbles, with stones during prayer. When I finished my salah, Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he forbade me. And he said, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't play with the pebbles when you are praying. So he said, I asked that, what should I do? How should I do? So he said, Isna kama kana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam yasna'u. You should do as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to do. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he used to sit in salah, he used to place his right hand on his right thigh, and then he used to close, or he used to close all his fingers except index finger. So these three fingers he used to close them, and thumb is closed as well, and only one index finger is not closed. Wa ashara bi isba'ihi allati talil ibhama, and with index finger he used to do ishara, he used to point, and he used to put his left hand on the left thigh. So this hadith mentions the thigh, and as I mentioned, if it's in a situation where some of it is on the thigh, some of it is on the knee, that would be the best reconciliation. Now, this is the thing that the ahadith where we have seen the index finger doing ishara, pointing, this finger is raised. There is no mention in these Sahih ahadith that this is for limited time period. Like Hanafiya, you may have seen them, that they keep their right hand spread on the thigh as well, just like left hand. And when they say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, they make the position, and then they do ishara with the finger, and then they stop doing ishara. This specific place or any other specific place mentioned by other fuqaha, there is no evidence behind that. The evidence says that this raising of finger is continuous throughout tashahhud, whether it's first tashahhud or second tashahhud. In the previous hadith, it had been mentioned that a position where you hold all your fingers closed and this index finger is raised. But there is another position for this right hand, and that is you close only two fingers, not all. Two fingers you close, the little finger and ring finger you close them, and with your big middle finger and with your thumb you make a halqa, you make a circle, and then you raise your index finger. This position is authentic as well, and this is proven as well, as this is a hadith from Sunan al-Nasai from Wa'il bin Hujr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says that qultu la anzuranna ila salati rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam kayfa yusalli. He said that I'm going to watch Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that how he prays. He thought about that. He talked to himself that I'm going to see Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam how he prays. فَنَظَرْتُ إِلَيْهِ فَوَصَفَ. So he watched Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and then he described his prayer. And in that description, he says that ثُمَّ قَعَدَ, that then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said in tashahhud, وَافْتَرَشَ رِجْلَهُ الْيُسْرَى, and he sat on his left foot, وَوَضَعَ كَفَّهُ الْيُسْرَى عَلَى فَخِذِهِ. He put his left hand on his left thigh, وَرُكْبَتِهِ الْيُسْرَى. And now in this hadith, he is mentioning both, that he put his left hand on his left thigh and left knee. So while bin Hujr, he is mentioning both things. So this is the reconciliation for those two previous hadiths, that while bin Hujr, he is saying that his hand was at the same time on the thigh and knee. وَجَعَلَ حَدَّ مِرْفَقِهِ الْأَيْمَنِ عَلَى فَخِذِهِ الْيُمْنَى. And then what did he do? He put his right elbow on the right thigh. Not actually, this is not like right hand, on the right thigh, and he made this position where he closed two fingers, made a halqa with middle finger and in with the thumb, and then he raised his index finger. فَرَأَيْتُهُ يُحَرِّكُهَا. While bin Hujr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was moving his finger, يَدْعُو بِهَا, and he was supplicating with it. Now this hadith mentions, now with previous hadith we have seen that this raising of finger is throughout, and then there is movement in the finger as well, but this movement is with dua, with supplication. Wherever you have supplication in your tashahhud, you are going to move it. Now most of tashahhud is supplication, except few sentences. For example, at-tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat. These words, they are for to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are not dua. These are not supplication. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is dua, that you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may peace be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. This is dua as well. So you will move your finger while saying these sentences. Now next sentence is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. This is tawheed, this is shahadatain, but this is not dua. You are not supplicating from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here. So keep your finger steady there. Then Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. This sentence is dua, that you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may his mercy be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then when you move forward by saying, oh Allah, as you have did this mercy on Ibrahim alayhi salam and his all, and then his generations, and then innaka hamidum majid, Now from Kama Sallaita to Hamidum Majid, this is not dua. Then next part, Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad, this sentence is dua. Kama Sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid, this is not dua. And after that, all du'as, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabil qabr wa min adhabi jahannam, or other du'as, all of them, they are dua. So there you will move your finger. This is all based on this word where he says yad'u biha, he used to supplicate with his finger. Now the final issue in this section is that where to look when you are sitting in tashahhud. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to look at his index finger, the finger which he used to do ishara with, the finger which was raised, the finger which was moving when supplicating. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to look at that finger. This is a Sahih Hadith from Sunan al-Nasai. Amir bin Abdullah bin Zubair rahimahullah, he says that my father, his father Abdullah bin Zubair radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he used to sit in tashahhud, he used to put his left hand on left thigh, and with the sababa, with his index finger, he used to do pointing, he used to do ishara, and his gaze didn't go beyond his finger. So he used to look at his finger, his index finger. So this is where you are supposed to look in tashahhud. Your eyes should be concentrating on that position. Now the final part of today's subject is about supplications towards the end of salah. You read Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin, Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin. Then what should you read towards the end of your tashahhud? There are two types of azkar or du'as there. One of them, they are required. They have been ordered. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us to seek refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from 4 things. So we should do that first. And once we have done with that, then we can increase more du'as from the sunnah, proven from the sunnah. And then on top of that, we can do further dua, whatever we want. What are those 4 sentences which we should say? And what are those 4 things which we should seek refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from? They are mentioned in Sahih Muslim, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us to say these words, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabi jahannam. O Allah, I seek your refuge from the punishment of hellfire, wa min adhabil qabr, and from the punishment of the grave, wa min fitnatil mahya wal mamat, and from the trial of life and death, wa min sharri fitnatil masih dajjal, and from the evil of the fitna of Dajjal. And then in Sahih al-Bukhari, there is a hadith which mentions these 4 things, and on top of that, it mentions a 5th sentence. And that 5th sentence is, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ma'sami wal maghram. O Allah, I seek your refuge from sins and from debt. And someone said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that ma aksara ma tasta'izu min al-maghram, that you seek refuge a lot of times from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You seek his refuge from debt, from coming under debt, that you are under debt and you are unable to pay. Why are you so worried about debt? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that inna rajula idha gharima, when someone is under debt, haddasa fa kadaba, when he talks, he lies, because people who to whom he owes money, when they come to him, he had no choice but to lie to them. Oh, I'm going to give you soon, I am going to get money. He is lying. He is not going to get money, but he is lying. And then he says to them, I will give you tomorrow, day after tomorrow, but he cannot fulfill his promise. So this becomes really serious, and these two things, they are signs of hypocrisy. So this is very really serious. And so this is really important dua, that when we are going to seek refuge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from four things which have been recommended and ordered, then we should include this fifth thing as well. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ma'sami wal maghrib. Then there is another dua in Sahih al-Bukhari which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. After reading the duas which we have mentioned before, we can read this dua as well. Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi zulman kaseera wa la yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta faghfir li maghfiratan min indika warhamni innaka antal ghafurur rahim. And then finally, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as it's in Sunan an-Nasa'i, that summa yad'u li nafsihi bima badalahu. Then whatever you want, you can supplicate for yourself. If brothers they have any questions, they can ask on the group, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.